Hey everyone, and welcome to our series on the Daily Stoic. January 6th. Where, who, what, and why. In his Meditations, Aurelius says, "A person who doesn't know what the universe is, doesn't know where they are. A person who doesn't know their purpose in life, doesn't know who they are or what the universe is. A person who doesn't know any one of these things doesn't know why they are here." So, what to make of people who seek or avoid the praise of those who have no knowledge of where or who they are? The late comedian Mitch Hedberg had a funny story he told in his act. Sitting down for an on-air interview, a radio DJ asked him, "So, who are you?" In that moment, he had to think, is this guy really deep? Or did I drive to the wrong station? How often are we asked a simple question like, who are you? Or what do you do? Or even, where are you from? Considering it a superficial question, if we even consider it at all, we don't bother with more than a superficial answer. But really, gun to their head, most people couldn't give much in the way of a substantive answer. Could you? Have you taken the time to get clarity about who you are and what you stand for? Or are you too busy chasing unimportant things, mimicking the wrong influences, and following disappointing or unfulfilling or even non-existent paths? As the old saying goes, either you run the day or the day runs you. This meditation reminded me of the parable of the 3 bricklayers. So one day, a guy's walking by a construction site, and he sees 3 masons hard at work. He asks the first guy, "What are you doing?" The man responds, "I'm laying brick." He asks the second guy, "What are you doing?" And he says, "I'm building a wall." And he asks the last guy, "What are you doing?" And he says, "I'm building a cathedral." This has always been one of my favorite parables because it shows that you get out of life what you put into it. The guy who was just laying brick was looking at life as a simple task completion exercise. The person who was building a wall felt that he was part of something and was contributing meaningfully. But the last person realized that he was putting a vision into practice. He was making the world a better place. His time was valuable. Who are you? That's one of life's most difficult questions to answer. Because frankly, nobody knows the answer. We have to create the answer. And I don't really have a lot of good advice on how to figure out who you are or who you want to be, or even how to get there. But I would like to offer one piece of advice on how to get somewhere that you don't want to be. Over the last 4 or 5, 6, maybe 7 years, a lot has changed in my life. I changed career fields. I got married. I had 2 children, got a dog, a house, a car, right? All the responsibilities of life. And one thing that my wife and I decided that when we got married and that when we had children, of course we'd have to give up some parts of our lives to become good parents or good husbands and good wives. But one thing that we promised each other is that in order to become a good husband, I wouldn't give up being a good person or a good Brian, right? The best way to be a great husband was to be a great version of myself. The best way to be a great father was to be a great version of myself. The best way to be a great teacher was to become a better version of myself. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes in life, we give up too much of ourselves to please other people. And one thing that I know for sure is that if you give up too much of yourself, you'll never be who you really want to be. So, make sure that even though you have to sacrifice some part of your life to improve in another, you don't give up too much of who you are to become who you want to be. Cheers. As always, this passage comes from the Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday, an amazing book that I can't recommend strongly enough.